Welcome to the final episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Character Profiles, or at least until Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns finishes anyway. Today we're going to be doing Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 and we're doing Yuya, Yuto, Yugo and Yuri. Once there was a duelist named Zark, who lived in what would eventually be known as the Original Dimension. In the Original Dimension, the abilities to Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz Summon was known by all. Zark stood as one of the most entertaining and powerful duelists of that world. However, through a series of events that I cover in this video here, Zark merges with his four signature dragons, the Odd Eyes Dragon, the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, the Clearwing Synchro Dragon, and the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. He did this in order to become the Supreme King Zark, with the intention to destroy everything. However, despite his unrivaled strength, he was stopped by a young girl named Ray, who chose to split Zark, herself, and the world into four separate dimensions in order to keep him locked away forever. And as such, due to this event, Zark was reincarnated into each one of the dimensions as Yuya of the Standard Dimension, Yuto of the Xyz Dimension, Yugo of the Synchro Dimension, and Yuri of the Fusion Dimension. Despite the incarnations of Zark being their own individuals, they each carried a fragment of his own personality, and a hidden darkness to someday reunite and destroy the world. So how about we take a look at each one of the incarnations, starting with Yuya Sakaki. Now Yuya is from the Standard Dimension. He appeared during the first episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 and serves as the main protagonist of the series. These were his wins and his losses, and this was his duel score. Yuya personally wields the Odd Eyes Dragon that would be transformed into the Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon during his duel with the Sledgehammer. At the time, this was that dimension's first introduction to the concept of pendulum monsters, and though it materialized first to Yuya, it was in fact through Zark's will that pendulum monsters were created. In terms of Yuya's design, he has dual-coloured green and red hair with red eyes. He is typically seen wearing a reddish-orange t-shirt with his school coat acting almost like a cape in a similar manner to how Yugimoto would wear his. Two prominent accessories of Yuya's are his goggles featuring a star on one eye and his pendulum necklace. He also temporarily wore a turbo dueling outfit during his adventures in the Synchro Dimension. Personality wise, Yuya is a very outwardly happy individual who lives to see a crowd smile with his entertainment style dueling. However, Yuya does hide a very deep sadness though, lacking much confidence in his own abilities. The source of this sadness is from his past trauma, during the disappearance of his dual entertainer father, who was branded as a coward after he vanished the night before his championship duel. A defense mechanism that Yuya tends to do is that he will use his goggles to hide his true emotions. However, his father Yuto once taught him that he should laugh and make other people laugh whenever he felt down, as just like his own pendulum, if Yuya can make others happy, the happiness would swing back to him just like a pendulum. Each one of the Zark incarnations received a personality trait from him and a subsequent darkness associated with it. Yuya inherited Zark's will to truly entertain a crowd and give them a show that they will enjoy. However, his corruption seems to be his sadness, as through the course of the series, Yuya is worn down by the atrocities committed by the Fusion Dimension, who use his beloved dueling to bring terror and fear to everyone. And it takes his best friend's peril at the hands of the Fusion Dimension to truly push him over the edge and slip into his awakened state. In this form, Yuya gains an eerie dark aura and voice, as well as piercing crimson eyes. In this berserk-like state, Yuya gains an unhealthy drive to win regardless of anything that stands in his way. His focus and attitude becomes heightened, making him essentially unbeatable whilst in this state. Though initially only triggered through Yuya's heightened emotional state, or due to the dimensional dragons being reunited, after he absorbs Yuto, he also gains Yuto's darkness as well, making his awakened state even easier to slip into. Speaking of, next up we have Yuto from the Xyz Dimension. Yuto first appeared during episode 7. Here were his wins, here were his losses, and this was his duel score throughout the series. Yuto wields the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. His design consists of dual purple and black coloured spiky hair with grey eyes. His typical attire is the epitome of smart casual, as he is seen wearing an untucked green shirt with a loose fitting tie. He, like Yuya, also wears a cape similar to that of Yugioh from the original series. In fact, Yuto also wears a neck choker and bracelets very similar to that Yugi also wore himself. It's probably worth noting as well that Yuto's dark attire was only donned after his home dimension was destroyed by the fusion dimension. Prior to this, he actually wore much more casual clothes. Personality-wise, Yuto is actually very caring, but closes off his emotions to others, making him seem cold. He always puts his friends' and comrades' well-being in front of his own though, and is able to remain calm in any situation. However, this outward appearance masks his true emotion, a feeling that had carried over from Zark. This emotion was hatred, specifically for Yuto towards the fusion dimension and all the atrocities they had committed. As such, dueling in Yuto's eyes is seen as simply a tool to exact his revenge and carry out his will. However, this ideology does waver through his time in the standard dimension due to his time with Yuzu. He slowly begins to see dueling as a way to bring smiles to people, much like how Yuya does, and in the end, he was willing to sacrifice himself in order to end the chain of hatred during his duel with Yugo. And speaking of, next up is Yugo, who is from the Synchro Dimension. Yugo first appeared in episode 8. Here were his wins and losses and his duel score throughout the series. Now Yugo wields the Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Yugo's design consists of blue and yellow hair with light green coloured eyes. His typical attire is that of a white turbo dueling uniform that features his signature riding helmet. He is in fact almost always with his dual runner, which takes a lot of its design inspiration from his ace monster, the Clearwing Synchro Dragon. Personality wise, Yugo is the most driven of the incarnates, wanting to always achieve any goal that he puts his mind to. This is something that he inherited from Zark, as Zark wants to be at the very top of all duelists, much like how Yugo strives to be the new duel king, just like Jack Atlas in his home dimension. Yugo's inherited darkness though was never really shown in the anime, however it could be assumed that it was simply a more extreme version of his desire to be number one, with Zark becoming more and more sadistic and cruel in order to remain at the top. Another aspect of Yugo's personality is that he is extremely impulsive, getting into duels based simply on his emotions and not asking any questions. For example, he can get very frustrated when people think that he is a part of the fusion dimension due to his name of Yugo sounding very similar to that of the Japanese word for fusion, Fugo. Just like Yuto and Yuya, Yugo harbours feelings for his childhood friend Rin and will go to extreme lengths in order to get her home safely. This goes as far as Yugo being completely unable to distinguish any of Rei's incarnates from one another, and always mistaking them for his Rin. Lastly, we have Yuri from the Fusion Dimension. Yuri first appeared in episode 37 of the anime. These were his wins, these were his losses, and this was his duel score throughout the series. Now Yuri wields the Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. He has dual purple and pink coloured hair with pink eyes. His typical attire consists of his purple Dual Academy officer uniform. Personality wise, Yuri is the most deranged of the counterparts, and the only true villain out of the four. He has a sociopathic nature, associating defeating and sealing people within cards as simple fun, though he has the capability to talk politely to others and even compliment those he deems strong. It is unclear if he does this respectfully or as a tactical mind game. Despite being an agent of the Fusion Dimension's Dual Academy, Yuri does not always act for their best interests. He duels and seals enemies in cards simply because it's what he wants to do, also that he could prove that he is the very best. And it is in this aspect that we see the darkness Yuri had inherited from Zark. It was Zark's sadistic nature that had led him into his corruption. In fact, looking at the other counterparts as well, there is an interesting distinction between Yuya and Yuri. Yuya believes that duels should make people smile, whereas Yuri believes that only the winner of a duel has the right to smile. It is through this conflict of ideology that the final battle between the U-boys was in fact between Yuya and Yuri. I'd like to mention as well that sadly throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5 anime, Yuri's character never actually goes through an arc, ironically. In the manga, this may have been different, but in the anime, he is simply evil all the way throughout and then is suddenly not anymore after Zark is defeated. So yeah, it's just a shame with his character development there. One other thing worth mentioning is, despite the fact that all of the other forms of Zark have some kind of romantic relationship with Rei's dimensional counterparts, Yuri is the only one who does not. This may be due to his upbringing, being denied friends and being encouraged to duel to win and to embrace his sadistic nature. This might have been what contributed towards this. Yuya uses a Performer Pal Magician deck that continually evolves as the series continues. The Performer Pal portion of his deck represents Yuya's entertainment passion, while his Magician half, though unbeknownst to him, seems to be remnants of his fused form, Zark. Yuya's ace monster, the Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, starts out as his only real trump card for his extra deck monsters. However, through the course of the series, he acquires fusion, synchro, and Xyz summoning abilities. During the final few episodes, after Yuya had merged with all of his fellow incarnates, he wields each one of their respective dragons, and is now a master of all the summoning styles. It is due to this mastery that he's able to summon new hybrid monsters from these dragons, such as the Odd Eyes Venom Dragon, Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon, and the Odd Eyes Wing Dragon. Now, this is the part where I would list every single card that Yuya has used throughout the entire series. However, Yuya has an absolutely insane amount of cards that he uses throughout the series. So how about we just list all the cards he used in his final deck of the series, starting with the monsters. Odd Eyes Lancer Dragon, Odd Eyes Saber Dragon, Performer Pal Bow Hopper, Drop Gallop, Flat Trap, Flip Hippo, Hip Hippo, Life Swordsman, Nightmare Knight, Pyrobster, Swordfish, Teeter-Totter Hopper, Undercover Hippo, Whip Snape, the Pendulum Monsters Balance Magician, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Performer Pal Card Canard, Cheermole, Coin Dragon, Duck Dealer, Extra Slinger, Fire Flux, 5 Rainbow Magician, Gongato, Gitartle, Gungamutton, Ignition Eagle, Labellman, Lizard Draw, Miracle Mirror Rabbit, Monkey Board, Odd Eyes Dissolver, Odd Eyes Light Phoenix, Odd Eyes Minotaurus, Odd Eyes Seer, Odd Eyes Synchron, Odd Eyes Unicron, Pendulum Sorcerer, Cell Shell Crab, Trap Mimic, Trumpanda, Turn Toad, Yugo Golem, Whim Witch, Stargazer Magician, Timegazer Magician, Jing Sheng Magician. His extra deck consists of the fusion monsters Beast Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Brave Eyes Pendulum Dragon, Odd Eyes Venom Dragon, Performer Power Gatling Ghoul, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, the Synchro monsters Clearwing Synchro Dragon, Nirvana High Paladin, Odd Eyes Wing Dragon, and the Xyz monsters Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, Odd Eyes Raging Dragon, and Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon. Yuto uses a Phantom Knight Xyz deck, with his ace monster being the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. Yuto relies heavily on spell and trap cards in his deck to augment his summoning and to protect himself. In fact, the way that Yuto plays is very reflective of his own personality, choosing to play more defensively to slow the duel down in order to give his opponent the opportunity to surrender before he deals a finishing blow. As a bonus as well, Yuto's Phantom spell cards have the unique ability to also be used in the graveyard, giving him much more utility with them. All of the cards included in his deck are the monsters Phantom Knights of Ancient Cloak, Phantom Knights of Ragged Gloves, Phantom Knights of Silent Boots. His extra deck consists of the Xyz monsters, the Phantom Knights of Break Sword, the Phantom Knights of Cursed Javelin, Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon, and when he was possessing Yuya, he also uses Dark Requiem Xyz Dragon. His spell cards consists of Phantom Knight's Spear, Shadow Veil, Possession, Rank Up Magic Burial, Rank Up Magic Launch, Round Blaze, Twin Medals, Emergency Provisions, and Mystical Space Typhoon. His trap cards consist of Phantom Knight's Fog Blade, Sword, Wing, Lost Vambrance, Wrong Magnet Ring, and Booby Trap E. Yugo uses a Speedroid deck that has the ability to swarm the field in order to meet the necessary requirements for his Synchro monsters, specifically for his ace card, the Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. As a last resort, he also uses cards that allow him to Synchro summon using monsters in the graveyard. As well, he also relies on a little bit of luck with some of his cards. He does this as he believes that though tactics are important, sometimes it is more beneficial to feel the flow of the duel and act instinctually instead. All of the cards included in his deck are Speedroid Double Yo-Yo, Horse Stilts, Menko, Ohaji Kid, Pajingo Kart, Razorang, Rubber Band Plane, Skull Marbles, Takatomberg, Terratop, the Tuna Monsters Speedroid Den Den Daiko Duke, Gun Prize, Malicious Magnet, Red-Eyed Dice, Tri-Eyed Dice. His extra deck consists of the Synchro monsters Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, High Speedroid Chambara, High Speedroid Hagoita, High Speedroid Kendama, and High Speedroid Puzzle. He has the spell cards High Speed Re-Level, Mystical Space Typhoon, Shadow Stepper, Shock Surprise, Speed Draw, Speed Recovery, Speedroid Scratch, Synchro Cracker, and the trap cards Burning Sonic, Dice Roll Battle, Dicetadium of Fate, Dragon's Bide, Extra Shave Reborn, Follow Wing, Miracle Mirror, Redice Cull, Speed Turn, Speedroid Shuriken Hurricane, and Urgent Tooling. Finally, Yuri uses a Predaplant deck that revolves around the summoning of his ace monster, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. His secret trump card in the deck to realize his fusion summons is his Super Polymerization card. He later acquires Clear Wing Synchro Dragon after he defeats Yugo. He also acquires a new fusion support card known as Ultra Polymerization, which is able to turn any monster used in a fusion summon into a tuner. He also used an Ancient Gear Honor Student deck to prove that he could win with any deck. It featured many Ancient Gear monsters, with the standouts being Ancient Gear Golem, Ancient Gear Reactor Dragon, and Ultimate Ancient Gear Golem. All of the cards included in his Predaplant deck are Cephalolotus Snail, Cordyceps, Darlingtonia Cobra, Drosophilium Hydra, Flytrap, Lilizard, Moray Nephis, Orphus Scorpio, Siraceniant, Squid Drosera, Thapelia Worm, the Tuna Monsters Predaplant Banksilla Ogre, the Fusion Monsters Greedy Venom Fusion Dragon, Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, the Synchro Monster Clear Wing Synchro Dragon, the Spell Cards Destructive Flower, Destruction Fruit, Ivybind Castle, Polymerization, Predaponics, Predapruning, Rapid Seed Fire, Super Polymerization, Ultra Polymerization, Violent Flash, and the trap cards Dark Seed Planter, Dragon Vine, Extra Shave Reborn, Predaplant Reborn, Predaprouting, and Ridiculing Worlds. And with that, guys, that is the final episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Character Profiles done. I hope you enjoyed. More may come in the future. I hope you've enjoyed this series. It's been an absolute pleasure to make. Let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Who is your favorite U-Boy as well? And just before we go, let me say a big thank you to the sponsors. Thank you very much to Yuno Light, J24092, CB, Dylan Cunen, Barrett Jackson Daly, the Gengar King, Chung Ling Zen, David Shanahan, Jack Sisson, and to everybody else. Thank you very much for supporting the channel, guys. Hopefully see you all next time.